people get more and more adept at surfing the internet, our phones ring less. The sources of information are just awe-inspiring. Like the Institute for Governmental Studies at Berkeley now does ballot measure analysis. The newspapers do it, and the websites of the campaigns tell you so much.
We've been trying to put a lot of links on our website to some of these other links, and I think if you start with the League, you can get to some others.
Not only that, but I've begun to realize as I spend my time searching the web for on these issues, is that if you go to one website, it sends you to many others.
Right.
And in fact, that kind of communication goes back. You may only need to find your way to one before you're including direct contact with the people who wrote the ballot measures and put them on, or the people who warn you about the dreadful effect of a measure.
One of the things I'd like to just explore a little bit here is we've been talking about our voter service activity, which is a major portion of what we do. We also study issues, and we come up with positions. Sometimes people think it takes the League a very long time to study an issue and come up with a position.
It does.
And once we have positions, we don't willy-nilly change them at the drop of a hat either. When we have those positions, then we can start. We take action on them. We might write letters. We might appear before the Board of Supervisors. We could protest out on the streets. There's a whole bunch of things that we could do. I think this Proposition 11 is a good example of advocacy based on a position.
And actually, we have positions on almost all of the 12. There are only a few that we have no position on. It causes me a lot of trouble when we are working with candidates or when we're doing our pros and cons presentation with people skeptical saying, well, how can you claim this is an impartial information about this ballot measure when you've taken a position on it yourself? So we have...
Because we are a two-handed organization.
Exactly.
We study and take positions, and we present impartial information.
And we do it separately. You keep it separate.
There are even different people often working on the advocacy side. And the other thing is that the League never endorses candidates. People have to, they endorse issues. And that nobody but the League board can make a decision on what issues to support.
That's right.
So individual members cannot ever speak for the League. The organization speaks for the organization.
At the local, at the local level, there are times when we're so involved in campaigning for an issue that we decide we can't do pros and cons on that particular one. And because the skepticism would just be too great.
Getting back to the balancing of voter service and taking advocacy and
campaigning.
You know, we get involved in issues like the smart train. We get involved in issues like campaign reform, and we're making an effort to try and get an ordinance passed in this county that addresses independent expenditure committees. And it's difficult, especially for someone like Annie here, to balance all that out.
There are some leagues that are so pure about their nonpartisan approach to ballot measures that they actually don't tell the voters when, in their pros and cons presentations, that the League has taken
a position.
Right. It's so frustrating to voters when we do that we decided it's a piece of information, and that the voters can judge whether we've presented the issue in an impartial way. But it's a fact, and we're going to say so. And I also add, sometimes I don't vote the way the League of Women Voters of California has recommended.
Really? Really?
No.
You're an independent woman?
I disagree. So that makes me impartial also.
Well, I think you have 3 independent women sitting here talking to you today about the League of Women Voters. And we all urge you to look at our website, to join our organization. If you put 2 or more League members in a room, you will have an intelligent conversation going on about something. It never fails. Even when I go up and help mail our monthly newsletter, we get into all sorts of conversations. So join us. I hope you've enjoyed this conversation about us, and don't forget to vote and study before you vote. Bye-bye.